Today's episode is brought to you by SuperTape, the ultimate website builder for artists and record labels. With SuperTape, you can sync your music, merch, videos, and tour dates from platforms like Spotify and Bandcamp and your social media directly to your customizable website. No coding or anything difficult required. I promise you, this tool is one of the coolest applications I've seen this year for indie labels and indie artists. This is true. These are like mini websites, but they're elegant and cool looking, and you can whip them together in a few minutes. I whipped one together for myself as a sample, and it took just a few seconds using like a template and then swapping in my logo and colors. Think of it like a link tree, but a lot more options, and then like the prettiness of maybe a Squarespace site. There's really nothing like this that I've ever seen. In fact, when I personally found them, so I reached out to them to see if we could work together. You have to see these websites. SuperTape gives you all the tools to grow your audience and promote your releases, whether you're an independent artist, you're an independent record label, or you're a label that represents multiple artists. You can do it all quickly and look good while doing it. So sign up for a free trial today at supertape.com. That's supertape.com. And thanks to them for sponsoring. Hello and welcome to a new episode of Other Record Labels. I'm your host, Scott Orr, where we talk about the art and culture of running an independent record label. As we approach our 7th year of this podcast, it's dawned on me that there may be some popular and helpful episodes over the past years that you maybe missed. In fact, whenever I'm on a clarity call, without fail, one of you asks me a question about some tiny detail of running a label or a specific industry subject. And I'm always like, I did an episode on that. And so I have to dig it up and email it to them. So I know that there's a lot of you, whether you're new, welcome, or for whatever reason have missed an episode or two over the years. How dare you? I want to highlight a few topics that I think are still really, really important, or maybe have become more important today. Like today's episode, I'm talking about YouTube and the role that YouTube plays for indie artists and indie record labels. This is, I'm very passionate about YouTube. I run a YouTube channel. I manage a couple of other YouTube channels. I've been watching YouTube very closely, and I've just been watching my own behavior as a YouTube consumer. The concept of waiting for a weekly episode is something that I do now for multiple YouTube channels. When I crawl into bed at night and I turn the TV on, I go to YouTube first to see like what's on TV. Like, you know what I mean? I'm watching so many things. Now, there's a lot happening in the short form video world. I'm not talking about that today. I'm talking about the long form content and the role that YouTube has. When I recorded this episode that I'm going to play for you in a second, it was a while ago, but I feel like it's become ever more true. The role of YouTube. We do not see YouTube as a social media platform. Keep that in mind. It is not a trend. To me, YouTube is a utility. It is very similar to just the television, except the people controlling what goes through that cable from the street to your TV is now us. It's no longer a cable company or the big networks. It's us, and we're creating shows. And so I had some incredible plans for my own music, for my new album, some shows, videos, quote unquote, that I wanted to film to promote the album. I didn't get around to it this year because I was busy, but I have a good content strategy that I'm going to roll out really soon. As an independent artist, I really want to invest in YouTube and take my time. I feel like for me, it's a better communication tool, a long form horizontal video to my audience than to try to do like a 30-second, 60-second vertical video. That's just me. Anyway, so I hope you find today's episode helpful, this replay episode. Thanks again to SuperTape, supertape.com for sponsoring. We're going to dive in seriously deep into today's episode. And we're going to get super didactic. And I've got some things that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about 4 steps to creating a YouTube channel for your record label. So we're going to divide this into format, content, schedule, and objective. So 4 categories: format, content, schedule, and objective. We're going to discuss that in depth today. So if you have a pen and paper, that's a great time to grab it. It's almost like a little mini workshop, but I just kind of want to work through this idea. And this is something I'm working through too. And, I've made different ideas of what a YouTube channel looks like for a record label or for an independent artist. And that's what we're going to also discuss. If you are a record label, should you do a channel for each individual artist or for your entire label or both? And so we're going to dive into that. There's so much to go into. One of the things I want to do before we get into all of this is I want to make a, I want to make a case for YouTube, because like all social media platforms, a lot of us think, is this the one that we need to do? Is this one important? Shouldn't I be putting my effort towards Instagram or TikTok or, whatever is the trending social media platform at the time? YouTube has been around for a long time. I've gotten by so far without one. Do I really need one? My case for YouTube is that, and I was trying to look up some stats, and I don't have like great stats to share with you, unfortunately, but I do remember a few years ago that it was said that YouTube was the #1 music discovery platform. And now I can't prove that. I don't have a source for that, but anecdotally, we can kind of see how that's true, right? Because just traditional music with like a static image is very popular on YouTube. And I remember 10 years ago, I had a friend who listened to all of this like hip hop music that had just been ripped and was streaming illegally. And he only used YouTube, which like this was before they kind of cracked down on, illegal content and making sure that the rights holders were credited properly. And before YouTube Music, and before you had to pay for that kind of stuff, and before even really necessarily ads. But you can think about how YouTube would be one of the big, if not the biggest, music discovery platforms. And there was also a time where, and I believe this to be true today, and again, I don't have a source for it, where YouTube is most likely the biggest music streaming platform. Now, technically, Spotify has 31% of the streaming subscriber market, but YouTube has 8%. So, but this is subscribers. Remember, this is paying subscribers. So let's look at these numbers. For paying subscribers of the entire digital distribution or digital streaming platforms, YouTube has 8%. Apple Music has 15%. So just slightly double than what YouTube Music has. And Spotify has 31%. And of course, there's all the others. But the reason I bring this up is, now remember, this is paying subscribers. So 8% of the paying music subscribers are on YouTube Music. But now let's talk about people who consume music on YouTube and don't have to pay a subscription, right? You can do that because you listen through the skippable ads. There's monetization that's happening. There's banner ads that are happening that pays for you to listen to music freely. And so a lot of record labels have uploaded an entire album. That's like a 45-minute video with just the album artwork. There's a lot of curators who do that as well. And some people can do it without the artist's permission because they can just credit their distributor or credit their record label. And there is a way for them to do that. I think you could probably ask them to take it down, but YouTube is so good at IDing the music and making sure that their distributors are paid that it's almost to your advantage to have these curators post these, they'll do like a playlist of like 3 hours of a certain micro genre of music. We talked about in that last week's episode with Hydration Records, and Gospel Hydration is a great example of a music YouTube channel. And there are music YouTube channels, especially in like the lo-fi realm, that are absolutely massive, millions and millions of followers. And so they are consumed by a lot of people who aren't necessarily YouTube Music subscribers. And so this is how we begin to see that YouTube as a platform for streaming and consuming music is massive, because that also doesn't even include, where do we go when we want to see a Tiny Desk concert, or we want to see live footage that somebody took on their cell phone at an arena, or where do we go when we want to see a music video or a band premieres a music video? 99% of the time they use YouTube. If a band puts together a live in-studio performance, they upload it to their YouTube channel in HD, and it's a 45-minute video of them playing through their new album or something like that. And so we begin to see how important YouTube is when it comes to music discovery and for music fans. And I personally, of course, I listen to music on record and I CDs in the car and on my my iPhone and Apple Music, but there are still a good portion of the music that I consume is somehow connected to YouTube. The other thing I want to mention, and that we're going to dive into the 4 steps that we need to do to create a YouTube channel for your record label. So please be patient with me, but I want to also remind you about the importance of the connection between YouTube and Google. Google and YouTube, Google owns YouTube, Alphabet owns everything, but it's all the same company. And what that means is that Google will prioritize YouTube in the search. And so when we talk about SEO, and we'll talk about that in a second, but when we talk about trying to rank on SEO, it's really important that your record label and your artists have music that exists under your own account or their account tagged with their names on YouTube so that it shows up in Google. In fact, if you were to search, you can go do it right now. Search in Google for any artist's name, and they're going to present YouTube music and the track listing for their latest release on YouTube Music. And then they're going to promote, generally with the very first search result is going to be YouTube videos for that artist name. So right there, that tells you, if you're trying to get any sort of SEO traction, search engine optimization traction for your artist or for your record label, it really should be done primarily through YouTube, because YouTube results are what they show you in Google primarily. And then, of course, it gets down to like Wikipedia and Instagram and Twitter. And so if you're trying to get found on, even on Bandcamp, I know Bandcamp shows up in the search results, so that's great. We'll do that as well. But YouTube is a priority for Google, so just keep that in mind. One other thing I want to say before we fully dive in is, do you need to do a YouTube channel? You may be putting this on and listening to this episode or watching this episode and thinking, do I actually need to do a YouTube channel because I don't want to take on another social media platform, or I'm just kind of, inundated right now. I'm a one-person operation. Do I need a YouTube channel? Of course, the answer is no. The answer is always no when we talk about these little things that we can do to improve our label. No, you don't need a YouTube channel. You can wait until the time is right. You can wait until you can come up with great content and keep that content consistent, so you don't have to do it now. But what I would suggest is that you maybe take an audit or evaluate the commitments that you have to all of the social media platforms, because social media, I know that if you're a one-person operation running your label, and there's a ton of you out there who that's the case for me, you really have to pick and choose what social media platforms you can keep up with. And so if you are doing really well creating reels and posting them on Instagram, on TikTok, and getting a lot of traction there, then maybe you can just focus on that for a little while. And maybe you could do shorts on YouTube, or you could just maybe put your YouTube to the side because you're killing it on TikTok. That's totally fine. But what I would suggest is to really just kind of narrow down to I would say 2 or 3 platforms. So if Instagram's easy for you to maintain because it's on your phone, it's intuitive, then maybe pare down to that. Maybe get rid of your Twitter if it's just not making an impact for you. And you should be able to see in your analytics. Bandcamp will tell you where people are coming from. Your Squarespace or your Wix site on your analytics will tell you where people are coming from. And I can do this too. And every month I total up my numbers and I look, I've had 4 people coming from Reddit. I've had 6 people coming from Twitter. So anything I'm posting on Reddit or Twitter is just not getting any traction. And I'm getting 300 or 400 visits from YouTube. So maybe let's put a little more focus over there. So you do not need a YouTube channel, but I think it's important that you kind of audit all of the social media platforms that you have. And that in a way, we kind of consider YouTube to be a social media platform. I will also say about YouTube, I'm starting to notice this thing where YouTube is so old. I mean, in the tech world, it's so old, but I still see it growing, and I still see it working its way to carve a spot in people's life. And I, as a consumer, am using it now as entertainment. I'm using it, there's a modicum of education that I'm using. It's like, how do I tie a tie? How do I change a tire? That kind of thing. That's super useful, but I'm using it for product reviews. I'm using it for what I've found myself to be using it for a lot is using it as a TV channel. It's like I follow certain YouTube channels, and each week there's a video posted and I just watch it like I would watch a new show. So YouTube has a lot of growth. And so you might be saying, why are we doing YouTube? It's been around for a while. I don't want to be a YouTuber. I think it's still, as the streaming platforms are kind of like wrestling with each other, I feel like YouTube is kind of secretly just like infusing itself into people's life. I still think it's finding its niche. All right, let's dive in. You're getting bored. I'm sorry. Okay. 4 steps to creating a YouTube channel for your record label. The first step is format. Let's ask ourselves, what is the format of our YouTube channel? What do I mean by that? Very simple. Are we going to do an artist channel or are we going to do a record label channel? So if we're doing an artist channel, if we have 5 artists on our record label, then we're going to have 5 separate YouTube channels. And the banner image is going to be the artist. The profile image is going to be the artist. The name of the channel is going to be the artist. And so does the artist have their own YouTube channel? Do you want to just help and assist an artist nurture their YouTube channel? Maybe you could spend some time reading and learning about YouTube and getting better. And then you can pass that information on to your artist and just enable them, empower them, help them with different things, maybe pay to run some ads on their YouTube channel if you want, just as a trial. And so this is one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is putting all of your attention on a label channel where all of the music videos that you produce, all of the albums that you upload as just an MP3 or as just music or singles, all of that comes through your label channel. And so if an artist is premiering a new music video, instead of premiering it on their own YouTube channel, they premiere it on your label's YouTube channel. So this is totally up to you. I think it's very easy for you to understand the pros and cons. We talked about this in email marketing when we were talking about, do we create an email list for individual artists in your label or one email list for the entire label? And so the same principle applies. If you have a YouTube channel for an entire label, well, you're going to have a lot more fans and a lot more subscribers, but some of those subscribers may not be interested in everything that you post. Whereas if you have an artist-specific YouTube channel, they may only have 50 to 100 subscribers, but those people are all fans of that artist. And so they're far more intense and you might get a better watch rate or click-through rate or a subscriber rate. So that's totally up to you and the resources that you have and your strategy. And maybe as I go through some of the other components of building a YouTube channel, maybe you'll be able, at the end of this video, you'll be able to decide, am I going to do 10 different artist channels or am I going to do just one label channel? Or maybe you do one label channel and then there's like 1 or 2 artists who are really good with video and have a really good video presence. And we just do a couple of YouTube channels just for the artists who are maybe a little bit more prepared to have a YouTube channel. The second topic is content. And so there's a couple things that we can do when it comes to content on our YouTube channel. And it's very simple. You could really just go to some of the labels who are doing it well that you admire and see what they're doing. Obviously, we see full albums and singles with just static artwork. And you may think this is kind of boring, but again, people use YouTube to stream music. And if they pay a little bit extra, then they can stream it on mobile and they can stream it when they close the screen or whatever. And so a lot of people like to just put on a compilation. And like I mentioned before, this is something you could do as a label, is you could put together a 3-hour compilation that's one video and somebody of all of the, the best tracks on your label, and somebody will listen to it via YouTube. The second thing is music videos. That's obvious, right? If you have music videos, then that makes a lot of sense. Live performances, I think, are my favorite part about an artist's YouTube channel or a record label's YouTube channel. When I'm into an album as a music fan, I want to go and I want to see that artist perform, whether it's on Saturday Night Live or it's just in studio, in their home studio, and it's black and white and it shows all their cool gear, whatever that is. Or if sometimes they perform just in the middle of a park and they're recording on a little Zoom or on their iPhone. I think that's cool. And so that's something that you can do with your YouTube channel. And of course, behind the scenes is a really overlooked opportunity to connect with your audience because it's free to do, essentially. I mean, you can set an iPhone up. Asian Man Records does this really well. You can set a phone up and pack records and talk to people about how you're packing records, give behind the scenes of your label office. Even if your office is just your desk in your bedroom, people really want to see behind the curtain. That's extremely popular. So consider some behind the scenes content. Well, as we're talking about content, understand your YouTube channel like this. And I was talking about this recently with a friend, but your channel, so your entire channel with all the different videos and all the different playlists, is like a TV channel. That's why it's called YouTube, and that's why it's called a channel because it's like an actual channel, like MTV. But your videos, or more specifically, your playlists, are like your shows. And so when we think of playlists is where you can kind of compile similar videos. So if you think of your playlist like shows and your channel like a TV channel, then we think of MTV, that's a channel, and then they would have certain shows on that channel, and those would be your playlists. And so you can look at some really cool labels who are doing, or even some music magazines who will have just a playlist of music videos. Then they'll have a playlist of live performance videos of artists performing in their studio or on stage. And then you would have a behind the scenes channel. And so as you're thinking through content and you're thinking, do I have enough content to have a YouTube channel? Maybe it's easier to think, okay, let's say I wanted to post one video a week. You could have 4 different content buckets. You could have a music video. You could have a performance video by an artist, whether that's just off the cuff or if it's a little bit more official. You could have a label behind the scenes video, and then you can have an artist behind the scenes video. And so in order to post once a week, you only need to fill one of those buckets once a month. And so now it's like one music video a month. That's hard to do for some labels, but one, live performance video a month is not too hard to do. Each artist, give them a month and say, listen, your month is September. Please send me a nice video of you performing. We're going to post it on your YouTube channel, on our YouTube channel. Behind the scenes, one week is your behind the scenes video, and then an artist behind the scenes, just film them talking about their new album, or do a little vlog from on tour. And so that's the content that you can do on a record label YouTube channel. Excuse me. I'm going to have a drink of coffee here.
Up to growing your business, getting people to notice you. But how do you do that? 2 words: Constant Contact. If you struggle to get your customers to notice you, Constant Contact has what you need to grab their attention. Sell more, raise more, and build more genuine relationships with your audience through a suite of digital marketing tools to fast-track your growth. Connect with over 2 billion people on social media with an all-in-one tool for posting and sharing. Your struggle with expensive, slow, and unmeasurable approaches to marketing your business is over. Get all the automation, integration, and reporting tools that get your marketing running seamlessly, all backed by Constant Contact's expert live customer support. Join the millions of small businesses that trust Constant Contact with their marketing success. So get going and growing with Constant Contact today. Ready, set, grow. Go to ConstantContact.ca and start your free trial today. Go to ConstantContact.ca for your free trial. ConstantContact.ca. Constant Contact.
On an artist YouTube channel. The third topic is schedule. And this is where things get really important. I believe that consistency is paramount. Not only me, but a lot of YouTubers and a lot of people who teach YouTube strategies and YouTube themselves value consistency even over quality, to be honest, because quality is subjective a little bit. And so what's most important is that you're posting weekly. Bi-weekly, I suppose, is possible, but the algorithm and just human beings really like weekly things. We get used to every Monday seeing the same thing or experiencing the same thing. We all have weekly routines. And so having one of your labels' videos show up in their feed weekly is a really good objective. And like I mentioned, we go back to that content. You don't have to have a music video every week. You don't have to have a behind the scenes content every week. You don't have to have a live in-store or in-studio performance every week. That can be once a month. And all of those different shows or playlists that you have, or you can even just one week upload a back catalog album as a MP3 with a static album cover image. And so the most important thing is that you're consistent. So whatever schedule you put together, make sure that you're consistent. I still do sporadic videos. If you're consistent with weekly and then you have something that comes up because a new release is out, sporadic videos is totally okay. And also a part of your schedule and part of your content is make sure that you share on all of your social media platforms. And so this is how we bring people to our YouTube, and this is how we get subscribers, is that we share on Twitter when we have a new video, and you can do that automatically. You can take a little clip and share it as a story on TikTok or on Reels on Instagram. You can share the thumbnail on Instagram as well. always driving people to your YouTube to check out this video. And so every time you post something new, make sure you send people back to that. The fourth thing, and I think it's really important, is objective. This is the fourth step in creating a YouTube channel, is what is your why for YouTube? And there's a couple whys I'm going to offer you, but we really need to ask ourselves, if you are listening to this episode and thinking, should I start a YouTube channel for one of my artists or for my record label? We need to stop for a second and say, why? What is the objective? Are we doing it because Scott told you so? Well, that's not a good reason at all. Are we doing it because other labels do it? Still not a great reason. Are we doing it because we're just trying to throw everything at the wall and hope that something sticks? That's not a terrible reason, but it's not the right reason. Here are a couple of reasons why I think that a YouTube channel or a YouTube channel can serve your overall purpose of your record label. I mentioned before for SEO. SEO is really important because when people are searching for our artists, they want to hear more, they want to see more. Then SEO is really great. YouTube is really great for SEO because, like I mentioned at the beginning, Google prefers YouTube videos. And so it's going to feed the search results of our YouTube videos to people who are searching for our label. And so one of the reasons why we might have a YouTube channel is just for SEO. And SEO creates the next thing, which is marketing touch points. We've talked about this a ton in our courses and in a lot of our marketing material. And a touch point is basically every time somebody hears about a new artist or a new release, whether that's word of mouth from a friend or a friend posting it on Instagram, sharing the Spotify artwork on Instagram, or maybe that's them reading about it in a Pitchfork or Stereo Gum, or maybe that's them hearing that this artist is coming to their town or hearing a song on the radio. These are all little touch points. And part of a successful marketing strategy is implementing or trying to achieve as many marketing touch points as possible, because, and there's studies that say that fans or consumers need at least 8 touch points before they'll become a customer or they'll finally stop and engage. And I can think of this for myself. If somebody on like Reddit is on a music subreddit is talking about a new artist, I'd be like, oh, that's cool. And then like if the same day somebody like a journalist that I follow on Twitter is tweeting about this new record, then all of a sudden my spidey sense is up and I'm like, something's happening here. I'm hearing about this in multiple locations. At the same time, they get best new music or coverage on Pitchfork. And then maybe like a friend of mine completely disconnected from that online music world, maybe posts it on their Instagram or takes a picture of them at their show or something. And then I'm like, okay, wait a second. If they're a fan, then all of these touch points add together. And it's like, okay, I actually need to check out this artist. And so YouTube can be just another touch point for them to say, okay, I heard the song on a playlist. I think I like it. I'm going to just do a little Google search. They find a YouTube video of the artist playing this, sitting out in their backyard, playing the song, an acoustic version of this song, or a live version of this song. And that's another touch point. And all of these things will add up and hopefully help fans connect better with our artists. And you have to understand, music fans have their own way of enjoying music. Some people, it's strictly vinyl. Some people, it's strictly Spotify playlists. For some people, it's strictly live, that they really don't care about studio recordings. They only want to experience bands live. And for some people, it's YouTube. Some people, it's just whether they're streaming music and not watching any video, or they can't enjoy music without a video component for some people. And so we kind of need to, our job as record labels is to meet music fans where they are. And so part of having our record label and our artists represented on YouTube is serving that community who are on YouTube and that who enjoy consuming music on YouTube, just like we do when we build a strategy on posting music on Bandcamp, or when we build a strategy about posting music on Spotify and getting it onto playlists. There is also a group, and we know this to be at the very least 8% of the streaming music subscribers, but certainly way more people who are just plowing through old footage and concert footage and in-store performances and that kind of stuff on YouTube. So we want to make sure that we're streaming those people. Also, when we're talking about our objective, and I'm almost finished here, thank you for staying with me. I hope that you found this helpful. You have to ask, what are you promoting, right? Because why do you have a YouTube channel? What are you promoting? What is the objective here? Is it to get more subscribers? No, it's not to get more subscribers, because would just be more subscribers watching more videos. So really, what is your objective with having a YouTube channel? It could be monetization. It could be that you want to make money and you want another revenue stream for your record label. And if you feel like you make a ton of video content, maybe you make really engaging vlogs and people start to get really interested in your YouTube channel. I did a studio tour that was like 60-minute walking tours, video tours that were filmed with multiple cameras at local recording studios on my YouTube channel for my record label that did extremely well. And we were able to monetize it and start to make a little bit of revenue off of those long form videos. So monetization could be your goal. Now that takes 1,000 subscribers and I think 4,000 hours of watch time, or maybe it's 4,000 minutes. I think it's 4,000 hours. So that's kind of a hard objective, but maybe that's a revenue stream is one of the reasons why you have YouTube. Maybe it's marketing touch points, which we talked about, which is really good. What we want to ask ourselves is, if people listen to our artists on our YouTube channel, what now? What next? After they watch that video, what do we want them to do? And so when you look at the description underneath the video, where people are kind of, their eyes are wandering while they're seeing their video, it's very important that you have a super clear call to action on the top line of the description. Don't just say like, new single from Atlanta-based band, check out their new album coming soon. That's a waste of space. It's really important that you have a line that says, follow this band on Spotify, click here, and you click there, or grab this song and more like it in a Bandcamp compilation, or download this free record label compilation or something. So it's very important that all of the people who come to your YouTube channel, because they're going to be coming from all different points, that you direct them back to some sort of primary destination that benefits your artists and benefits your record label. Okay, we've gotten super didactic here. We talked about the case for YouTube, why Google search prefers YouTube. We talked about whether you really need a YouTube channel or not. And then we talked about the 4 steps to creating a YouTube channel: the format, the content, the schedule, and your objective. I'm going to put this all together at otherrecordlabels.com/YouTube, just so that you can go back to it and look over my notes and listen to this episode again when you're ready to put together a YouTube channel. If you ever have any questions about it too, you can always send me an email. Let me know in the comments if you watch this on YouTube, or by sending me an email, or in our Facebook group for record labels. Let me know where you're at in your decision to start a record label, start a YouTube channel for your record label or for your artist, or if you already have a YouTube channel and things are going well for you. I'd love to know about that. So thank you so much for listening. I hope that you have found this to be very in-depth and help clear some things up on this discussion of, hey, do I need a YouTube channel for my record label? Go to otherrecordlabels.com/YouTube. Thanks so much.
And thanks again to our new friends at Supertape for making this week's episode possible. Check them out. The best way to create a little micro website for your artists and for your record label. You're going to love this. Go to supertape.com, and thanks for listening.